Somalis are not terrorizing this nation. We are helping it thrive.
Right. Helping America thrive. Here's where my problem lies. Ilhan Omar is always talking negatively about America, the country that she resides in, and she's always speaking highly about Somalia. You know, the country that she won't go back to.
Somalia is considered by many to be the worst country on earth. I don't know. I haven't been there. I won't be there anytime soon.
I am trying to visit every single country on the planet, and today I'm in Somalia. I am back in Somalia, although some of my followers from Somaliland would probably object, but it's my first time in Mogadishu.
Does that look safe? He's not safe at all.
In proper Somalia, I've always wanted to visit. I'm currently here at the lighthouse of Somalia, and you can see some of the beaches and the boats and the hustly-bustliness behind me. I just explored Mogadishu a little bit over the markets. It was really fun. And now I'm currently here in front of the lighthouse of Mogadishu. Greetings from Somalia.
Somalis are not terrorizing this nation. We are helping it thrive.
And how exactly are you doing that?
Somalis have always seen themselves as a fabric of this nation.
I might be willing to consider another fabric.
Analysts with whom we have been speaking say it's unlikely Omar would not have some exposure to the corruption.
This also has an impact on Somalis because we are also taxpayers.
She also held a victory party in 2018 at a restaurant called Safari, owned by Salim Ahmed Saeed, a major player convicted in the scheme.
I think all this will be investigated very thoroughly because there's really a national spotlight on Minnesota and all its problems. I mean, this is a scandal that is by far the biggest in state history.
White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller said on Friday the Somali fraud will prove to be the greatest theft of taxpayer dollars through welfare in U.S. history.
Okay, so not only is Stephen Miller spot on, but there's been so much fraud in America. I think they're doing fraud overseas, not just here in America. But I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about because there are $1 million properties right in your city. There are $1 million homes that were purchased through fraud, scheming, and scamming the taxpayers. They scammed you out of your money because, well, the homes were bought and purchased with the taxpayer money in Minneapolis. Bro.
When I think about Stephen Miller and his white supremacist rhetoric, it reminds me of the way the Nazis described Jewish people.
Okay, so here she goes again with the Jewish Nazi rhetoric. You're Somalian. You're doing fraud. You're not Jewish. He's not a Nazi. This is an ace in the hole. For them, this is the card that they pull out when they're in distress. This is a distress card. The entire Democrat Party uses tactics like Nazi and racist and fearmonger. They use those tactics out of that playbook that they have been using and regressing back to for years. This is nothing new. If he was a Nazi, then how would that negate the fact that you're doing fraud? Let's just talk about what you're doing. Stay focused. Roll it.
5 Investigates is tracking your stolen tax dollars.
All right, let's go.
And tonight we
let's
reveal
find out what's
how
going
some
on.
fraudsters are still benefiting from their crimes even after being charged and convicted.
Investigative reporter Eric Rasmussen has been following the Feeding Our Future fraud for nearly 4 years, and he's here with what's standing in the way of getting your money back.
Well, we do know a lot of the $250 million stolen from taxpayers is tied up in property and other.
Just $250 million alone is fraud and criminal. Just in itself, $250 million stolen from the American citizens used for autism that was actually not autistic kids. That is the premise of getting locked up and never being released because we don't know what type of fraud you will do next. These type of crimes that you're convicted of, but you're still benefiting, somebody's benefiting. You had a restaurant, you have homes, a basketball court. What if Tim Walz and Ilhan Omar has benefited in the same way? Not the same exact way, but maybe they have a build or maybe they have some money pocketed in their bank account possibly because of the fraud. We need to go down the rabbit hole and find out what's going on. Let's get back to the video.
Things. Federal prosecutors say they're seizing it, but at least in some high-profile cases, viewers told us that still has not happened, so we went to check it out. All right, here I go. From this 5-bed, 4.5-bath in Washington County to a $1 million house in Plymouth, complete with an indoor basketball court. My name is Eric Rasmussen. I'm a reporter with KSTP. Another right off this county road.
That's what I'm talking about. $1 million home complete with a basketball court. We don't have basketball courts in our homes, but we're paying for your basketball court in your home. No.
In Burnsville, do you know if the government is trying to take this house? They're not? We had to see these properties for ourselves. Each house owned by people convicted of fraud, connected to Feeding Our Future. $250 million meant to help kids in need, stolen at the height of the pandemic.
We've property all over the state, in different parts of the country.
But long after prosecutors filed paperwork to seize properties purchased with stolen taxpayer dollars, neighbors told 5 Investigates that still has not happened. Is it fair for the public to want answers about what's being done?
Absolutely. It's our money.
Mark Osler is a professor at the St. Thomas Law School and a former federal prosecutor.
This is something in criminal law that too often gets forgotten, the money side of it. You know, we pay attention.
People want to know where their money is. People, if you're paying taxes, say for instance you have a car, or your car is in the shop and you're paying them consistently. Say for instance your car is in the shop and you're paying them consistently weekly or bi-weekly or monthly. And they never give you an update or a report on what's going on with your vehicle. Well, what you think? They've stolen your car, or your car went missing or something? You would want to know what's going on with your car. You would call, and if no one gives you an answer, then it will make you irate. It will make you crazy. That's your car. This is their money. Of course we want to know where the money is, and me, I'm nosy, so I definitely want to know where the money is. I have to tell you guys.
Prison. But the harm is often in the money.
Take former Safari restaurant owner Salim Saeed. 5 guilty verdicts now. A jury convicted him and Feeding Our Future founder Amy Bach nearly 9 months ago. But we found Saeed and his wife are still the official owners of this $1.1 million house in Plymouth. Fraud money funded their $952,000 down payment in 2021. And county records show they've racked up more than $50,000 in delinquent property taxes since then. No one responded to the note I left, but a week later we did see someone leaving in a Cadillac. Prosecutors say they have to wait for Salim Saeed to be sentenced before they can take the property. But that doesn't explain this one. Records show the owner of this house in Willerny is Jonathan Ross, the husband of Sharon Ross.
We want to keep that program going.
The former director of House of Refuge Twin Cities was sentenced to prison in February for her role in the Feeding Our Future fraud. That should have cleared the way for the government to take the property, but we found a car registered to Ross's husband still sitting in the driveway. We are also asking about this house in Burnsville, owned by former Feeding.
Really quickly, so these people have Cadillacs, Mercedes-Benz parked in front of a $500,000 house or more. We don't know how much that one costs, but I know that for sure he put a $953,000 or $935,000, $900 and anything $1,000. It's hard for people. It's hard enough for people to get a loan from the bank, and you are walking around with stolen scotch-free cash, putting down payments on $1 million homes. This is unbelievable, honestly. I've never seen this in my life. Like Stephen Miller said, this is the biggest fraud we've seen in history. He's seen in history.
Our future employee, Abdikerm Idle. Do you know Mr. Idle? Right
Abdikerm
before being
Idle.
named in the first indictments in 2022, Amy Bach's right-hand man fled the country. Do you know where he is? That's the voice of Idle's ex-wife, according to a second person who spoke to me from behind the front door.
He fled? He fled to Africa?
Ex-husband.
Oh, man. He fled to Africa. He fled to Africa.
Sure enough.
He's gone.
After investigators say Idle put down $95,000 on his new house, records show he and his wife filed for divorce. A mutual agreement living in the same house, they wrote, right before Idle disappeared.
Instead of having to go through that person and try to extradite him and all of that, we can go directly after the property. I'm sure that's what's being considered. But it's still frustrating we don't have the body too, that individual who was so culpable.
I'm gonna leave my information here. So what else can be done?
Public attention always helps. So what you're doing is certainly gonna help.
For now, Osler says taxpayers will have to be patient.
The most likely outcome is that these properties will be seized, they'll be sold, the public will get the money back.
For weeks now, we've been asking prosecutors specific follow-up questions about these 3 properties. And I can tell you in just the last 45 minutes, I got a call back from the lead prosecutor, Joe Thompson. He says they have to let the full legal process play out. In each of these cases, he added that the value of what they have seized so far is significant, somewhere between $60 and $70 million. And I can tell you when I went back to check court records today, which we've been doing a lot lately, I did find the U.S. Attorney's Office just reached a settlement to recover an additional $227,000 that was tied up in a property in Kentucky. That one was previously owned by another defendant in these Feeding Our Future cases that was sentenced earlier this summer. So the bottom line is the process is happening, maybe not as fast as some.
So basically, in a nutshell, in translation, it took the Donald Trump administration to start kicking down doors, not in a literal sense, but in a metaphorical sense. It took the Donald Trump administration to start looking into what's going on and actually taking action to go after the money and getting it back into the taxpayers' pockets. It's a process, but they at least started the process. See, if we were still in the Biden administration, we would never know what's going on. We would never have any answers. It's an auto pen, a word salad, no answers, no accountability, no liability for anything. You're not reliable and you're not accountable. Thank God that we have Donald J. Trump and this administration that's going to hold people accountable and take action.